Good morning. Continuation of the chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. So in the last class we studied up to the formation of pollen grains, structure of androecium, under that stem in formation of pollen grains. So what are pollen grains? Pollen grains are microspores, male gametophytes, pollen grain. So when the anther dehisces, these pollen grains are released. So when we touch the open anthers of a flower, yellowish powdery deposition occurs on our fingers. Those are pollen grains. When we sprinkle them in a glass slide containing a drop of water and observe under microscope, we see different varieties of pollen grain in different plants, in different species. Variety refers to size, shape, color and design are pollen grains. So pollen grains come out from the dehisced anther. They vary in shape, size, color and design from plants to plant. So pollen grains are the structures which later produce male gametes. So pollen grains are called male gametophytes. They vary in shape, size, color and design. Usually in most of the plants they are spherical in shape. Size ranging between 20 to 25 micrometer. Made up of walls, two walls, made up of wall. Wall is two layered. In this, wall is two layered. Outer wall is called exine. Inner wall is called intine. Exine is tough, hard, protective. Outer one, exine, outer, hard. Hard in the sense protects the pollen grain from pathogens, from dehydration, from UV radiation, like that. So it is highly tough, hard, outer one. Made up of exine. Exine is made up of a material known as sporopollenin, a highly resistant organic material. Sporopollenin. Exine, hard one, is made up of a highly resistant organic material known as sporopollenin, which provides resistance for the pollen grain. That is, because of the presence of this in the wall, these are not easily damaged by high temperature, strong acids and alkalis. So these organic material which is present in the exine provides protection for the pollen grain. No enzyme can degrade this. No enzyme can degrade this. Because of the presence of this, these pollen grains of any flower can be stored like a fossil. But this material is not laid throughout. Somewhere there is an opening in the wall. This material is not laid throughout in the wall. There is an opening in the exine known as germ pore. So this is germ pore where sporopollenin is absent or sporopollenin is not laid. So exine is a rough, tough, protective, made up of highly resistant organic material known as sporopollenin. Because of this, these cannot be easily destroyed by higher temperature, alkalis and strong acids. No enzyme is known which can degrade this. Because of the presence of this, these can be stored like fossils. Inner to the exine is intine. One more wall layer, intine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin. Intine is single layer, thin, forms a lining on the inner side of the exine, made up of intine. Intine made up of cellulose and pectin. Made up of cellulose and pectin. That is intine. Inner to that is the plasma membrane, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm and the nucleus. So this is a pollen grain. This grows like this. These are the stages in the development of the pollen grain. Pollen grain grows like this. So initially two vacuoles appear, the two vacuoles merge, becomes big vacuole, and the nucleus divides, and finally like this. So size, wall and wall. So what is wall? Wall is two layered, outer exine, inner intine. Intine on the inner side is lined with a plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, inner to that dense cytoplasm, vacuole, a single nucleus. This is the mature one. This is the mature pollen grain. So pollen grain grows and like this, mature pollen grain. A mature pollen grain is with two cells, big cell and a small cell. Bigger cell is known as vegetative cell. Vegetative cell, and smaller cell is known as generative cell. Bigger cell and smaller cell. Bigger cell is big, this is bigger cell with plenty of reserve food and a irregular shaped nucleus. A bigger cell, plenty of reserve food and irregular shaped nucleus. And one more cell is this one, which is spindle shaped. Floats in the vegetative cell, spindle shaped, and it floats in the vegetative cell with a single nucleus and dense cytoplasm, somewhat spindle shaped. So this is the mature pollen, which we call as two-celled stage. Two-celled stage. So what is that? How a pollen grain matures. How a pollen grain matures. The single nucleus of the pollen grain undergo mitosis, resides in two nuclei. So the pollen grain become two-celled. Bigger cell, smaller cell. Bigger cell with reserve food, smaller cell with dense cytoplasm. Both the cells are with the nucleus. This nucleus is irregular shape. One more nucleus. This cell is generative cell. Generative cell, which is spindle shape, which floats in the vegetative cell. Floats in the vegetative cell. Why the name generative cell? What is microspore? Microspore is male gametophyte. What is male gametophyte? The structure which later produce male gametes. Means what? Among these two cells, this is the cell which later generates the male gametes. That's why for this cell the name is generative cell. Generative cell later generates the male gametes. So we studied shape, size, wall, and how a how a pollen grain matures. In most of the plant, more than 60% of angiosperms, more than 60% of the angiosperms, pollen grains are shed, released from the anther in this stage, that is two-celled stage. More than 60% of the angiosperms, pollen grains are shed at a two-celled stage, whereas remaining 40% in them they are shed at three-celled stage. They are shed at a three-celled. Which are the three cells? This generative nucleus, now one is vegetative. This is vegetative. Generative nucleus divides and results in the formation of two male gametes. Now the pollen grain is with three cells. So in 40% of the angiosperms, pollen grains are shed at three-celled stage. In more than 60%, they are shed at two-celled stage. So in some, pollen grains are shed at two-celled stage, in some they are shed at three-celled stage. Few more properties of pollen grain. One is pollen allergy. Pollen allergy. Pollen of few species of the plants causes allergy. One example for pollen allergy is Parthenium. Parthenium. Parthenium is also called carrot grass. Carrot grass. The plant resembles carrot, that's why the name. So pollen of few species of plant causes allergy, known as pollen allergy. One example is Parthenium. It came to our country through imported wheat as a contaminant. Through imported wheat as a contaminant. Pollen of few plants causes bronchial afflictions when inhaled. Bronchial afflictions. Afflictions refers to pain. Pain in the lung. Bronchial afflictions, which leads to chronic disorders. Chronic disorders. Some disorders related to lung which remain for a long duration are called chronic disorders, like asthma and bronchitis are few. Asthma and bronchitis. So pollen allergy. Pollen of few species causes allergy, known as pollen allergy. One example is Parthenium carrot grass, which causes pollen allergy in human beings. This Parthenium came to our country through imported wheat as a contaminant. Few pollens causes bronchial afflictions, pain in the lung, which leads to chronic disorders like asthma and bronchitis. Pollen of few flowers are highly nutritive, hence taken even by human beings as food supplement, are highly nutritive. Pollen of few flowers are highly nutritive, hence are taken as food supplement in the form of pollen tablets, pollen syrups. Pollen tablets as well as pollen syrups. Consumption of pollen has claimed to increase the performance even in athletes and race horses. So in athletes as well as race horses. So pollen of few flowers are highly nutritive, taken as food supplement in the form of pollen tablets, pollen syrups. Consumption claimed to increase the performance in athletes as well as race horses. Next is viability. Viability in pollen grains. We already discussed that pollen grains in few plants are released in 2-celled stage, in others they are released in 3-celled. What is viability? After the release from the anther, how many days they survive in nature? Lifetime of a pollen grain is viability. Viability of pollen varies from plant to plant. Mainly depends upon the prevailing temperature and moisture. In few pollen, the viability is just for a few minutes, whereas in few for few months, like that. So viability varies. Few minutes in the case of cereals like paddy and wheat. They remain just for 30 minutes. The viability of pollen in the case of cereals is just 30 minutes. In the case of members belongs to 3 families. One is Rosaceae, Leguminosae and Solanaceae. In these 3 families, the viability of the pollen grain is found for few months. So that is viability. So viability refers to how many days they survive. Viability refers to how many days they survive after their release from the anther. It varies from species to species. In few cases for few minutes, in few cases for few months. One more concept. Pollens can be preserved. Pollens are having a wall exine which is highly tough, made up of sporopollenin. So pollens, because of this, pollens can be stored in liquid nitrogen at a temperature of 196 degrees Celsius. In liquid nitrogen, which can be used as pollen banks, in crop breeding programs. In crop breeding programs. So, cryopreservation. What is cryopreservation? Pollens can be preserved. Pollens can be preserved in liquid nitrogen at a temperature of minus 196 degree Celsius, which can be used as pollen banks, which those pollens later can be used in crop breeding programs. Crop breeding programs. So, that is the continuation of male reproductive structure, the androecium. So, we studied how is androecium. Individual unit of androecium are called stamens. Stamen is made up of filament, anther lobe. Anther lobe internally with the pollen sacs. Pollen sacs internally produce pollen grains by the process of microsporogenesis. What is microsporogenesis? Formation of microspores from microspore mother cells. Microsporogenesis. Then the anther shows 3-layered wall. 3 main, 3 to 4. Epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. Outer 3 protective, inner one is nutritive. Inner one is nutritive, tapetum. As the sporogenous tissue changes into microspore mother cells, and these microspore mother cells changes into microspores, there is no tapetum. Entire tapetum is used up. And later at maturity, on dehydration, the anther lobes dehisce. Pollen grain comes out. Pollen grain vary in shape, size, design from species to species. Usually they are spherical. Size in diameter vary between 20 to 25 micrometer. Made up of wall. Wall is 2-layered. Exine intine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin. Highly resistant organic material which can bear higher temperature, strong acids and alkalis. Intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. There is a opening in the exine which is known as germ pore. When the pollen grain germinates, the germ tube passes out through this pore, germ pore or aperture which is present in the exine. At maturity, pollen grain is with the vegetative cell and a generative cell. More than 60% of angiosperms, pollen grains are shedded 2-celled, in remaining it is shedded 3-celled. Pollen of few flowers causes allergy, few causes bronchial afflictions. Pollen of few are nutritive, pollen can be preserved. The viability varies from pollen to pollen in different species, few for few minutes, for few months. So, that is the end of male structure, that is male reproductive structure, androecium up to pollen grain, 3-celled, 2-celled, finally how the pollen grains can be preserved. Continuation, female reproductive structure. The female part in the flower is gynoecium. Gynoecium made up of units. Gynoecium made up of units called carpel or pistil. Carpel or pistil. Pistil. A single carpel is somewhat like this. A single carpel is somewhat like this. It is with swollen flask-shaped structure, the ovary, the receptive part, the stigma, receptive in the sense which during pollination receives the pollen grains. So, receptive part, the stigma, the connection narrow part which connects the two is style. Style. So, that is carpel, that is pistil. Number of carpels per gynoecium, number of pistils per gynoecium vary. Their number of carpels per gynoecium means in different flowers vary. It may be 1, it may be 2, 3, it may be many, like that. So, number of carpels per gynoecium varies, depending upon that they are named monocarpellary, bicarpellary, tricarpellary and multicarpellary and so on. So, units are carpels. Carpel is also called pistil. Carpel. The number of carpels in different flowers vary. Depending upon the number of carpels, gynoecium is called monocarpellary, bicarpellary, tricarpellary and multicarpellary. Think of two-carpelled gynoecium. Carpels are two. In the gynoecium, carpels are two. Those carpels we represent either like this or like this. What is this? This is they are free. This is they are united. So the carpels in a flower may be free. The carpels in a flower may be free or they may be fused. For that there are terms. When the carpels are free, it is called apocarpus. When they are united, syncarpus. When they are united, the term is syncarpus. So carpels may be free or carpels may be united. Free carpels are called apocarpus. When the carpels are fused, the condition is called syncarpus. Example for syncarpus is hibiscus. Recall a hibiscus flower. In the center of the hibiscus flower, we get a structure somewhat like this. So what is this? This is ovary, style and stigma. So from external side we can make out only one ovary, one style, but stigmas are 5. So in hibiscus flower, the gynoecium is pentacarpellary, but since here ovary and style are only 2, that means they are fused, it is syncarpus. So example for syncarpus gynoecium is hibiscus. Syncarpus. One more is papaver. Papaver is poppy. In poppy we can see a condition like this somewhat. See, each one is a carpel. Several carpels fused. So syncarpus, 2 example. One is hibiscus, one more is papaver, poppy. Now coming to apocarpus. Example for apocarpus condition is apocarpus, Michelia. Each one is a carpel. So this is a carpel, means this is the ovary, this is the style, this is the stigma, but they are free, they are not united. So apocarpus, Michelia, syncarpus, papaver and hibiscus. Now again concentrate on pistil or carpel. So carpel, what is carpel? Unit of gynoecium is carpel. So a carpel is with style, ovary and stigma. This is ovary. Ovary internally with chambers of the ovary known as locule. Chambers of the ovary known as locule. Each locule is with ridge or mass of tissue known as placenta. For example, imagine this is a ovary with one locule and this is placenta. So placenta, what is that? Ridge or mass of tissue which arises in the locule. One more is ovules. So what are ovules? Ovules are one which arises from the placenta. See, this is a ovule. So ovary, style and stigma. Ovary contain ovarian cavities, chambers known as locules. Number of locules again vary from ovary to ovary. Depending upon that, ovaries are named as monolocular, bilocular, trilocular. So chambers within the ovary vary. Chambers within the ovary vary. Each chamber with a ridge or mass of tissue on its inner side known as placenta, from where the ovules arise. So gynoecium is made up of individuals, carpel and pistil. Carpel or pistil. A carpel is made up of ovary, style and stigma. Ovary made up of or internally with locules. Ovary internally with locule. Each locule with placenta. Ovules arise from the placenta. Now continuation is about ovules. Continuation is about ovules. Now what is ovule? Ovule is megasporangium. We studied in the androecium microsporangium, which later produced microspores. Now ovule is megasporangium. Megasporangium, which later produced female gametophyte. There it is male gametophyte, here it is female gametophyte. So what is ovule? Ovule is megasporangium. Ovule is megasporangium. A typical ovule is somewhat like this. Typical ovule in angiosperm is like this. Typical ovule. See, this is a typical ovule. This is the body of the ovule, like this. This is a typical ovule, which we say straight ovule, erect ovule, with a stalk and with the body. With a stalk and this is body. This type of ovule is called orthotropous ovule. Orthotropous ovule. Another type of ovule seen in angiosperm is anatropous. Think like this. This is the body, this is the stalk. The only stalk is here only. The body rotates by 180 degree. Body rotates by 180 degree, like this. See, stalk is here only. The body part is rotated 180 degree. This is another type of ovule known as anatropous ovule. Anatropous ovule. So what is ovule? Ovule is present inside the ovary. Ovule is megasporangium. In angiosperm we see different types of ovules. Erect straight ovule is orthotropous. This ovule, in which the body of the ovule is inverted 180 degree, is anatropous ovule. Orthotropous, anatropous. So we will see how the anatropous ovule is. A anatropous ovule is somewhat like this. Anatropous ovule. The anatropous ovule is having a stalk. This is called stalk of the anatropous ovule. Stalk is named as funicle. And this much part is the body of the ovule. Body of the ovule. The stalk attaches to the body in a point known as hilum. Stalk attaches to the body at a point. The junction between the stalk and the body is hilum. This part is actually the base of the ovule, which is known as chalaza. Two layers, protective layers, cover the ovule, outer and inner. Outer and inner protective layers cover the ovule, which are known as integuments. And these integuments does not cover the inner mass completely. They leave a opening. The opening is called micropyle. And inner to this there is a bunch of mass of cells, the nutritive tissue of the ovule known as nucellus. Nucellus, N-U-C-E-L-L-U-S, nucellus. In the case of male part we studied tapetum, the nutritive, whereas in the case of female this is the nutritive part, the nucellus. So a ovule is with a stalk is called funicle. Stalk is attached to the body at a point known as hilum. Base of the ovule is chalaza. Ovule is protected by protective layers covering the integuments, inner and outer, which leave a small opening known as micropyle, and inner nutritive mass of tissue is known as nucellus, which this nucellus part internally holds a structure known as embryo sac. Internally holds a structure known as embryo sac. What is embryo sac? Embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Yes, ovule internally bears a structure known as embryo sac. Embryo sac. This embryo sac itself is the female gametophyte. Microspore is male gametophyte. Embryo sac is female gametophyte. Now, how this embryo sac develops inside the nucellus? That is megasporogenesis, which is continuation part. Megasporogenesis. So we studied structure of ovule. Ovule internally contain a big mass of cells, nutritive cells known as nucellus, which internally contain a structure known as embryo sac. Embryo sac, which is the structure which later holds the embryo, so the name embryo sac. What is embryo sac? Female gametophyte. Female gametophyte. So continuation is how a female gametophyte, the embryo sac, is produced inside the nucellus. Inside the nucellus. Recall again, orthotropous ovule. So how is orthotropous ovule? Ovule is straight. Ovule is straight. Okay. This is the micropylar end. Now internally what is this? This is nucellus. This is nucellus. So imagine this cell. This cell. One of the cell of the nucellus. The cell which is closer to the micropyle is this one, which becomes the functional, which becomes the megaspore mother cell, which becomes the megaspore mother cell. Megaspore mother cell undergo meiosis. Megaspore mother cell undergo meiosis, resulting in megaspore dyad and megaspore tetrad. Tetrad means what? These are 4 megaspores which are arranged in the form of in a single line. So it is called linear tetrad. Among these three degenerate. Among these three degenerate. Only one remains. What is that? It is the one which is the functional megaspore. Only one remains. It is the functional megaspore. So one single cell of the nucellus, which is closer to the micropyle, behaves like megaspore mother cell, which differentiates into megaspore mother cell. This undergo meiosis, resulting in dyad and tetrad. Tetrad is here linear tetrad. 4 megaspores are arranged in a line. Among these, those cells 3 which are close to the micropyle. What is this end? Upper end is micropylar end. Why? This is orthotropous ovule. These 3 degenerate, one becomes functional, and that is functional megaspore. This functional megaspore later give rise to the embryo sac. This functional megaspore later give rise to embryo sac. This type of embryo sac development, in which embryo sac is produced from single functional megaspore, it is called monosporic development of embryo sac. It is called monosporic development of embryo sac. So what is embryo sac? Embryo sac is female gametophyte which is present inside the nucellus. One single cell of the nucellus, which is near the micropylar end, undergo meiosis. Before that, it first differentiates into megaspore mother cell, undergo meiosis and results in megaspore tetrad. Outer means upper 3 degenerate, remains only one, which is the functional megaspore. This functional megaspore later give rise to the embryo sac. Since the embryo sac is produced from single functional megaspore, it is called monosporic development. Next, from this single cell, how a embryo sac is produced. From this single cell, from the functional megaspore, how the embryo sac is produced. Now imagine, what is this? This is the functional megaspore. It undergoes mitosis continuously 3 times. So first mitosis results in 2 nuclei. Second mitosis results in 4. Next, one more mitosis results in like this. Eight nuclei. In each case, it is mitosis. But nuclear division is not followed by division of cytoplasm. So finally, the mature embryo sac is 8 nucleate. It is 8 nucleate. Now, the functional megaspore, the nucleus of the functional megaspore undergoes mitosis continuously 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times, resulting in 8 nuclei. Resulting in 8 nuclei. Here nuclear division is not followed by division of the cytoplasm. So now it becomes 8 nucleate. 8 nucleate. After this, the nuclei starts to organize. In the sense, cell wall formation occurs between the nuclei, resulting in somewhat like this. Now here is upper end is what? Upper end is micropylar end. Micropylar end means this is in the case of orthotropous ovule. Now I will draw this diagram in the case of anatropous ovule. What is anatropous ovule? In which the micropyle is down, inverted. So in this case, cell wall formation begins between the nuclei, thus resulting in 3 cells which are called antipodal cells. Antipodal cells, which are the cells closer to the chalaza. Which are the cells closer to the chalaza? Antipodal cells. These two are, imagine these 3 nuclei moves into one pole, these 3 nuclei moves into another pole, and from the 2 poles one nuclei moves to the center. So these two are polar nuclei. These two are polar nuclei. 3 more cells organize near the micropylar end. Together it is called egg apparatus. Together it is called egg apparatus. Egg apparatus is made up of 3 cells. Central cell is the egg cell, the female gamete, and 2 more cells, this and this, are called synergids. These are called synergids. Synergids. Synergids have a type of thickening inside them known as filiform apparatus. Filiform structure or filiform apparatus. Filiform apparatus. So egg apparatus consists of egg cell and 2 synergids. Synergids internally contain filiform apparatus. The function of filiform apparatus is it helps in the, it guides in the movement of the pollen tube when the pollen tube enters inside the embryo sac after pollination process. After pollination process. Now this is the mature embryo sac in which there are 3 plus 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 nuclei are there, but it is now only 7 celled. Here 3 cells, here 3 cells, 6 cells, centrally 1 cell which is called the central cell. Which is the central cell. So this is the mature embryo sac. Now recall our ovule. So in the case of ovule, this is the nucellus. Nucellus is with the integuments. Nucellus is with the integument. One single cell of the nucellus near the micropylar end become the megaspore mother cell, undergo meiosis and produce functional megaspore. Its nuclei divides 3 times mitotically and results in embryo sac. That embryo sac is now present inside this. This is now the embryo sac. This is now the embryo sac. Surrounding the embryo sac is what now? Surrounding the embryo sac is nucellus. So this is nucellus. Surrounding the embryo sac is nucellus. Okay, now integuments, everything same. Inside here we can see the synergids and the egg cell. Synergids and egg cell. Synergids are having thickenings like this, the filiform apparatus. 2 polar nuclei in the center, 2 polar nuclei, this is the egg cell, and here there are 3 cells, the antipodal cells. Now this is the embryo sac. What is embryo sac? Female gametophyte. What is egg? Female gamete. So now this female gametophyte internally with the egg cell, the female gamete, or female gamete is inside the female gametophyte. That is female part of the flower, gynoecium. Gynoecium is made up of pistil or carpel. Carpel is with the ovary. Ovary internally with the ovules. Ovules are megasporangium. Formation of megaspore is megasporogenesis. How megasporogenesis occurs? Megaspore mother cell, one of the single cell of the nucellus, undergo meiosis and results in functional megaspore. The functional megaspore nucleus undergo mitosis, resulting in embryo sac. Embryo sac is the female gametophyte. That embryo sac internally contains the egg cell, the female gamete.